Inside Rikers Survival in NYC's toughest jail, a man's freedom ended before he even reached the street. Every sound echoes against steel and concrete. Decisions here can decide life or make it disappear entirely. The air carries tension that never eases, even in silence. Every step can spark confrontation. Every glance can signal allegiance or threat. Few survive without learning the rules instantly. Some leave broken. Some leave hardened. Few ever talk about what happens behind locked doors. If stories like this matter to you, subscribing helps us keep uncovering them. Inside Rikers, the gates close with a finality that leaves no room for hesitation. The island's perimeter cuts off the outside world, isolating every individual within a network of rigid routines. New arrivals are processed through a system designed to measure risk, behavior, and health. Each step is documented meticulously, from fingerprints to photographs, creating a permanent record before they see any housing unit. Cells are assigned not only by crime or sentence but by temperament and perceived influence. Staff watch for patterns in demeanor that could predict future conflicts among inmates. The daily schedule is relentless. Meals, recreation, and counts occur at precise intervals. Missing a step can trigger warnings, extra restrictions, or isolation from the general population entirely. Communication between inmates is constant but cautious. Alliances form quickly, often on minor signals, gestures, or shared histories. Silence is sometimes as powerful as words in negotiating survival. Despite the chaos outside, routines inside remain tightly controlled. Guards move in shifts designed to maintain visibility and authority, monitoring hallways, cells, and common areas for any deviation. Meals are more than nourishment. They're a test of patience and awareness. Crowded dining halls amplify tensions, and any disruption can spread quickly, drawing attention from both staff and inmates. Medical care is available but limited. Chronic conditions are managed within constraints, and urgent cases require careful evaluation before transfer. Delays can exacerbate health risks for those inside. Mental health resources exist, but demand far exceeds availability. Inmates with anxiety, depression, or trauma must navigate personal survival while waiting for professional support that may never arrive promptly. Recreation is structured to reduce unrest, offering limited exercise or group activities. Even these moments carry a calculated risk, as interactions can escalate quickly into disputes or displays of dominance. Contraband remains a constant concern. Staff conduct regular inspections, yet ingenuity finds ways to bypass security. Items hidden in clothing, food, or personal spaces constantly test the system. Visitors are tightly regulated. Family, attorneys, and social workers pass through strict checkpoints, ensuring that every interaction outside the bars is documented and controlled. Escapes are rare but not impossible. Each attempt becomes a case study in how vulnerabilities in protocol are identified and exploited, prompting immediate review and systemic adjustments. The island's geography itself shapes daily life. Bridges, docks, and internal roads restrict movement, and the isolation from the mainland ensures that every act is contained within the perimeter. Inmate labor programs exist but are limited. Work assignments teach skills, provide structure, and contribute to institutional maintenance. Compliance is essential. Refusal can affect privileges and housing. Education programs provide opportunities to earn high school equivalency or vocational certificates. Participation often depends on behavior records, with priority given to those deemed least likely to disrupt operations. Visitation remains one of the most anticipated events. Inmates measure their success by the duration and quality of interactions. Staff monitor for contraband or coded messages while keeping visits orderly. San Quentin operates differently but shares underlying principles. Inmates are housed in various units according to risk and sentence, with death row isolated from general populations and rehabilitation programs emphasized. Work and education are integral to daily life at San Quentin. Programs include carpentry, culinary arts, and academic courses. Engagement is encouraged, and success can improve parole considerations or privileges. The structure of both facilities enforces accountability at every level. Staff maintain detailed records, logging incidents, medical care, work assignments, and disciplinary actions to ensure compliance and order. Punitive measures range from loss of privileges to solitary confinement. Isolation is used sparingly but effectively, intended to manage threats while maintaining institutional control. Inmate culture develops rapidly. New arrivals learn quickly which behaviors ensure survival and which provoke retaliation. Observation often outweighs spoken instruction as the primary teacher. Contrasts between Rikers and San Quentin are stark. Rikers emphasizes containment and risk management, while San Quentin incorporates more structured rehabilitation programs alongside strict security measures. Daily counts are a ritualized reminder of control. Inmates must be present, still, and accounted for. Any discrepancy triggers immediate investigation and a cascade of protocol responses. Staff-inmate interactions are governed by strict guidelines. Professionalism, consistency, and authority define the approach, though tensions arise when authority is questioned or personal histories collide. Gang affiliations and social hierarchies influence movement, work assignments, and recreation. Knowledge of these dynamics is crucial to avoid conflict or exploit opportunities for safety. Medical emergencies test the coordination between staff, security, and external hospitals. Every transfer involves detailed documentation and risk assessment to maintain order while providing care. Rehabilitation efforts vary. Counseling, education, and vocational training aim to reduce recidivism, though success is uneven, heavily influenced by personal initiative, institutional support, and timing of release. Isolation and confinement affect mental health. Even short-term placement can disrupt routines, elevate stress, and intensify conflicts upon reintegration into the general population. Visitors, letters, and phone calls are lifelines. Communication is monitored, recorded, and analyzed, offering both reassurance and a potential channel for manipulation or intelligence gathering. Trust is scarce. Bonds between inmates form cautiously, based on observation, mutual need, and credibility. Betrayal can carry immediate consequences, while loyalty can create fragile networks of protection. Inmates face the constant calculus of survival. Decisions are measured not only for immediate effect but also for long-term impact on reputation, safety, and access to resources. Despite rigid routines, conflicts ignite unpredictably. Small disagreements escalate quickly, often rooted in personal history, perceived disrespect, or competition over limited resources. Every action carries consequences that can ripple through the population. Shifts change, and with them, the environment subtly transforms. Each staff member brings different enforcement styles, attention to detail, and interpretation of rules, influencing inmate behavior and institutional stability. Inmate communications are layered. Spoken words are only part of a complex system of gestures, glances, and informal codes. Misreading even minor signals can provoke confrontation or inadvertent alliances. Security cameras cover most areas, yet blind spots exist. Inmates exploit these strategically, testing limits without triggering immediate responses, while staff constantly adjust protocols to counter these behaviors. Daily routines are a framework for survival. Shower times, meals, and recreation must be navigated carefully, often requiring negotiation and observation to avoid unwanted attention or conflict. Medical attention remains a high-stakes negotiation. Staff prioritize emergencies, while chronic conditions sometimes require persistence from inmates, who must advocate within strict procedural limits to receive care. Education programs are highly sought after but competitive. Participation can improve morale, provide skills, and create temporary reprieves from constant tension, but opportunities are limited and closely monitored. Solitary confinement is both a tool and a warning. Inmates are aware that any disruption can result in isolation, a tactic that enforces compliance and instills caution across the population. Inmate labor supports facility operations, from kitchen work to maintenance. While productive, it is also a microcosm of hierarchy, where compliance, efficiency, and reputation influence placement and privileges. San Quentin emphasizes rehabilitation more overtly, but the tension between authority and inmate autonomy persists. Structured programs coexist with strict monitoring to maintain order and encourage personal growth. Visitation is a calculated respite. Families provide emotional stability, but interactions are monitored closely. Every word, gesture, and item passed carries risk for both staff and inmates. Gangs influence daily life. Recognition, respect, and reputation shape social dynamics. Even outside structured programs, alliances form and dissolve based on observed behavior and strategic necessity. Contraband control is ongoing. Inmates find ways to hide items in personal belongings, food, and clothing. Staff continuously adapt, conducting inspections to prevent escalation and maintain institutional safety. Mental health services face high demand. Counselors provide support where possible, yet persistent stress, isolation, and exposure to violence challenge both staff and inmates managing psychological strain. Discipline is systematic. Minor infractions lead to warnings, while repeated issues escalate into confinement or loss of privileges. Each decision reinforces the rules and communicates consequences to the population. Daily counts remain crucial. Even minor discrepancies trigger alarms, signaling potential escapes, misbehavior, or misplacement. Staff and inmates alike recognize the significance of precise attendance in maintaining order. Work programs carry both risk and reward. Inmates gain skills, structure, and potential privileges, but failure or misconduct can reverse gains and impact housing or recreational opportunities. Education offers limited but meaningful relief from tension. Classes on GED preparation, vocational skills, and life skills create brief windows where focus shifts from survival to personal development. Trust is tactical. Alliances are formed cautiously and tested over time. Betrayal is met with swift repercussions, reinforcing the high stakes of social navigation within the jail and prison. Medical emergencies test coordination. Transfers, documentation, and communication with external hospitals require careful execution to prevent procedural errors and maintain safety during urgent situations. Recreational time is brief and structured. Exercise, sports, or group activities provide temporary relief but carry the constant risk of conflict, requiring vigilance and awareness from every participant. Inmate hierarchies influence movement. Status, past behavior, and reputation determine access to programs, recreation, and privileges, making observation and negotiation essential for survival. Contraband detection shapes interactions. Awareness of inspections, hidden items, and potential consequences guides behavior, creating a constant tension between resourcefulness and caution. Isolation impacts mental resilience. Even short-term placement in confined spaces disrupts routines, heightens stress, and influences subsequent interactions upon reintegration into general populations. Staff-inmate relationships remain professional but carry nuance. Respect, authority, and consistency define interactions, though personal histories and situational pressures can influence outcomes in unpredictable ways. Every interaction is measured. Inmates learn to navigate verbal exchanges, physical proximity, and nonverbal cues to maintain safety, negotiate privileges, and establish credibility among peers. San Quentin's rehabilitation programs shape potential futures. Participation can influence parole decisions, personal development, and social integration, but success is dependent on consistent engagement and behavior. Work assignments and education coexist with strict oversight. Staff balance opportunity with risk management, ensuring institutional operations continue while providing inmates access to constructive activities. Mental health care, education, and rehabilitation intersect with security protocols. Each decision made by staff affects the balance between control, opportunity, and inmate welfare, maintaining constant institutional tension. Every day at Rikers is a negotiation between routine and risk. Inmates navigate schedules, relationships, and authority with constant awareness that a single misstep can change everything. San Quentin's environment differs, yet the stakes remain high. Structured programs aim to prepare inmates for reintegration, but every decision carries immediate and long-term consequences for safety and progress. Inmates form complex social networks. Alliances, rivalries, and reputations dictate movement, access to resources, and interactions with both peers and staff. Observing patterns is critical to survival. Communication is layered and cautious. Words are rarely straightforward. Gestures, timing, and context convey meaning. Misinterpretation can lead to conflict, while correct understanding can secure temporary protection. Daily counts punctuate life. Accuracy is essential. Staff monitor every discrepancy, and inmates know that each tally has consequences, influencing everything from privileges to work and recreational access. Meal times amplify tension. Crowded dining halls test patience and awareness. Staff and inmates alike monitor interactions, knowing small disputes can escalate quickly in a confined environment. Rehabilitation and education programs provide structure but are not without risk. Participation can improve morale, skills, and future opportunities, but access is contingent on compliance and behavior records. Contraband remains a persistent challenge. Despite inspections and strict enforcement, items circulate through hidden networks, requiring vigilance and negotiation from both inmates and staff. Mental health remains a silent battlefield. Stress, isolation, and exposure to conflict strain emotional resilience. Support exists but is limited, leaving many to cope under extreme pressure. Work assignments reinforce hierarchy and accountability. Kitchen duties, maintenance, and other roles teach skills and structure, yet position within these programs reflects status, reputation, and trustworthiness. Isolation is a tool and a warning. Even brief confinement can disrupt routines, heighten anxiety, and influence future behavior, reinforcing the importance of compliance within the institutional system. Staff-inmate interactions shape daily life. Professionalism and authority are constant, yet outcomes hinge on experience, judgment, and the unpredictable dynamics of personalities and histories. Recreation offers brief reprieve. Exercise, sports, or group activities allow a temporary shift from survival to engagement, but each moment carries risk and requires vigilance to maintain safety. Visitor interactions are carefully managed. Family and legal counsel provide emotional support, but monitoring is strict, ensuring security while permitting connection beyond the institution walls. Trust is strategic. Alliances form cautiously and are continuously tested. Loyalty can provide protection, while betrayal can result in immediate consequences, reinforcing a constant calculus of social risk. Education programs at both facilities influence prospects. GED, vocational training, and life skills offer pathways forward, yet participation requires discipline, compliance, and negotiation with institutional rules. Healthcare demands constant attention. Staff coordinate medical care with procedural rigor. Inmates must advocate effectively while adhering to strict protocols to receive timely treatment for urgent or chronic conditions. Inmate hierarchies shape access to opportunities. Reputation, behavior, and perceived influence determine program eligibility, work assignments, and privileges, creating a layered social structure that must be navigated carefully. Micro-cliffhangers emerge daily. Tensions, disputes, and unexpected inspections can disrupt even the most routine day, forcing inmates to adapt instantly to maintain safety and access to resources. Security is omnipresent. Cameras, patrols, and controlled movement combine with procedural checks to mitigate risk, yet blind spots and human factors allow constant testing of boundaries. Mental resilience is continuously challenged. Exposure to conflict, isolation, and systemic pressure requires coping mechanisms that influence behavior, alliances, and engagement with rehabilitation or work programs. San Quentin's programs offer structured opportunity, but participation is voluntary and monitored. Success requires balancing compliance with personal initiative while maintaining awareness of social dynamics. Contraband detection, behavioral observation, and procedural enforcement intersect. Staff and inmates operate within a constant tension between compliance, risk management, and resource acquisition, shaping daily experience. Isolation, confinement, and discipline reinforce rules. Even minor infractions carry consequences, teaching compliance while influencing future behavior, social standing, and access to programs or privileges. Work, education, and recreation coexist with security protocols. Each activity reinforces order while offering limited autonomy, requiring vigilance and negotiation from both inmates and staff. Healthcare, mental health, and rehabilitation intersect with institutional control. Decisions and actions carry immediate and long-term consequences, shaping outcomes for safety, personal development, and future prospects. The passage of time is measured in routines, counts, and interactions. Survival depends on observation, patience, and strategy, as every day presents new challenges and potential risks. Reintegration and release are contingent on behavior, participation, and institutional assessment. Both facilities aim to prepare individuals for eventual return to society, but success is determined by consistency and compliance. Every choice carries weight. Inmates navigate complex systems of authority, social hierarchy, and personal survival, making each action consequential for immediate safety and long-term outcomes. If this story kept you watching, the next one will stay with you even longer. Subscribe for more real prison documentaries.